afternoon, everybody. Today is October 25th and it is snowing. So this is very typical for where I live. We often get snow in October. I had actually seen a reel of other people who live where it snows a lot, and it was like a Halloween version, like costumes and stuff. And it's like when you grow up somewhere where you have to buy the costume 3 sizes too big because you need to fit your snowsuit under it. Yeah, story of my life. But anyways, I just got home from running so many errands, but I wanted to pop in here and say hello because it's been a while since I picked up my camera, and also because I wanted to show you the fact that it is snowing. And right now I'm about to be making my supper, and I wanted to show you what I'm making. I recently found a pre-made gluten-free vegan mac and cheese that's actually really good, and I want to share that with you. While I have you here, okay, first off, I got these super cute pants at a boutique in my area, and I want to show those to you as well. Let's see. Look at these. Are those not stinking cute? I got them for $10 because the little button thing fell off, and so that's a super good deal. And this is the mac and cheese that I'm talking about. So that's what I'm gonna be making myself for supper, and Matt's gonna have our leftover lasagna soup because he is on worship tonight at our church, and so he needs to get home, shovel some food in his mouth, and then get going. And so, yeah. Today is also Pots. Happy National Pots Day. And so after he leaves, I'm going to be filming my video for that, and that will be coming out before this video does. Hello friends! Today is Thursday, October 26th, and it looks like winter is upon us because it is. Look. Thankfully, my husband has already put on my winter tires, and so I don't have to worry about car issues. But right now, I am working on getting some cookies baked for a meeting that I have tonight, and I don't know about anybody else. Lighting, sorry. I feel like everybody has their things that they do that bring them joy or that help them cope or whatever, but baking is my happy place. It's like I can completely erase my feelings when I bake. I just feel so happy and excited for whatever the outcome is of what I'm baking. And so I'm very thankful that even though my stomach issues continue to be a problem, and even though meal times are very stressful, I'm thankful for being able to still cook and bake because they still help keep my relationship with food to be a positive one. And so I'm gonna bake some snickerdoodles because even though it's snowing outside, I am still clinging to the last bits of fall. And snickerdoodles are just very fall-esque. And I'm also thinking about turning on Gilmore Girls. So we're gonna get baking. Hello everybody, happy Wednesday. Today is November 1st, and I'm currently just chilling in bed. got my heating pad on my back because I pinched something in between my shoulder blades somehow. I think it's from when I'm sleeping. My hypermobile shoulders, they like collapse under me when I'm sleeping on my sides, and they just pinch whatever's in between, and it's super painful. But anyways, that's not what I came on here to share. I'm also gonna include a clip right here. My husband and I had the privilege of singing at a fundraiser, and so I'm just gonna insert a tiny clip right here. Yeah, guys, happy Wednesday. I haven't really vlogged in like a week because honestly, things have been either busy or super lame and boring and chill. So I figured I would just hop on here and tell you what I've been up to the last little bit. I feel like I've shared bits and pieces of my health stuff, but I haven't shared a whole lot of anything else. And so I wanted to share what I have been up to recently. So, if you've been following my channel, you'll have seen that I've really gotten into books recently, and like by getting into, I mean like I read a book per day basically, depending on the thickness of the book. And so I was just going to share which books I have been reading. Recently I have been reading, so in September I read through the Four Kingdoms series. So there's, I think, 6 or 7 books in the Four Kingdoms part of the series, and then there's 4 or 5 books in the Beyond the Four Kingdoms series. So I read all of those, and they were really, really good, but towards the end they were kind of getting a little bit repetitive. So if you haven't read the Four Kingdoms series, it's basically a bunch of fairy tale retellings, and they're very well done. But I decided not to read the Returning to the Four Kingdoms box set just because I was getting tired of them. But if you're into princesses, fairy tales, that kind of thing, that series is definitely right up your alley. Next, after I finished reading the Four Kingdoms, I read through the Cure series, and so this is basically if you were to take the Hunger Games and make it very futuristic and technological, you would have something very similar. So the Cure series is about these people who live in a dystopian world, and basically there's this disease that came through and wiped out all of their nation's adults pretty much, unless they moved into this place called the Ark, which is like a safe place, and they got this thing called the Cure, which saved them from this disease. And so basically every 17-year-old is supposed to move into the Ark to gain their place of deserving the cure. And then it's 5 books about just the whole system falling apart basically. Super good, super gripping. There's a little bit of romance in there, and I really liked it because I'm a huge fan of the Hunger Games. And so if you're a Hunger Games fan, I highly recommend the Cure series. Sorry, I'm a little bit shaky here. Next up, what I picked up was, what's it called? I need to go look. The next book that I read was called The Royal Games, and so very similarly to like the Selection series, The Hunger Games, was this book called The Royal Games. And so right now it's a standalone novel, but the author is working on book 2, and they left it on a huge cliffhanger, and so I can hardly wait until book 2 comes out. But same concept, these girls live in a dystopian society. They usually live in really low levels of society and have their opportunity to elevate themselves into royalty or better positions by going to, by entering these games to like basically marry the prince is how it goes. And so the royal games, super good. I don't want to give too much away, so if you want to know more about it, you should just go and check it out. And then right now, what I have been working through is the Princess Trials. So I just finished the 3 or 4 books that are in the Princess Trials, and now I'm working through the Princess Purge part. It's kind of hard to know which ones you should read first, because what I found in the Princess Trials was reading those first have kind of given away a couple of things in the Purge. I feel like the Princess Purge kind of gives you the backstory of the prince's sister, and so if you want to read the backstory first, I would highly recommend that you read the Princess Purge 2-book series first, and then read the Princess Trials, but I don't think it gives enough away for it to make much difference. But the Princess Trials are basically the same concept as the Royal Games, the Selection Series, the Hunger Games, except I have found that the Princess Trials are a lot more like violent than any of the other books that I've read so far. The Hunger Games is definitely like up there in violence, and like the Selection Series is like super docile, like no violence. And then I would say the Royal Games, that book is like right in between. There's a little bit of violence, but Princess Trials is definitely way up there in action and violence and turn of events like crazy. And so it definitely gripped my attention, and that's why I enjoyed reading it. And yeah, like I said, right now I'm reading The Princess Purge, and it's also super good, super gripping. If you're not into violence, I would highly recommend that you don't read it. I have a very low tolerance for violence, and I'm tolerating it just fine. And so read it at your own, what's the word? I don't want to say risk, because it's not like a risky book. There's like very, very light romance, I would say. And it's just more like violent and lots of killings and stuff. And so if that's something that don't feel comfortable reading, then I wouldn't suggest this series. But if you have read the Hunger Games, you love the Selection Series, this is like a beautiful hybrid, and so I would recommend you reading those. And then as for Christian fiction, not fiction, Christian non-fiction, so all of these books that I've stated are like young adult fiction, and they aren't Christian, but I would say that they're on the cleaner end of not like non-Christian fiction. And so I am personally comfortable with reading these books, but also at your own discretion. And if you're younger, then maybe wait. Yeah, you know. But anyways, this book that I have been reading for like kind of like a devotional style book is Gentle and Lowly by Dane Ortlund, and this book is so good. It basically goes through the personalities and characteristics of Jesus, and the chapters are nice and short, and so you can read it like a devotional per day kind of thing, because it's very short, and it's going through his characteristics that have been outlined like in the New Testament, and just kind of re-explaining them to a perspective that we can understand, because the characteristics of Christ and of God are often way beyond our understanding, and to just be able to get a little glimpse of like the heart of Christ is just so beautiful and very well laid out in this book. And I highly recommend it to anybody, especially if you are struggling in your relationship with Christ, and maybe you've found yourself in like a hard situation and you feel like nobody cares and that God's kind of left you. This book has just opened my eyes to the caring and tender heart of Christ, and I would highly recommend that you pick it up. On the other end, not the other end, but moving to the next update, I guess, I have reopened my small business. So back in 2020, I opened a small business, and at that point, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even really know what I wanted to sell. I just kind of put up a couple of items and got a couple of sales. But then shortly after I opened that business, I had to close it because I was working at a Bible camp and couldn't make product, basically. And I wasn't sure if I would ever open it up again, but I've opened it. And this is what I'm doing. So I have a newfound love of embroidery, and in my area there are very few people who do embroidery, I think because it's challenging, and just the complexities of designs can really jack up the prices if you want to make like good money off of it. And so I've had to be really strategic in how I do this, but nobody in my area does the kind of embroidery that I do. And so let me show you some of my pieces that I've been working on. Okay, so starting with the first one. So I have one niece and two nephews, and I thought it would be absolutely adorable to make them some personalized sweaters with their little initial on there. And so I've already made my nieces, and I am waiting on some sweaters to come in that I ordered. I did order some sweaters off of a cheap site, and the sizing on there I don't think was 100% accurate, and so I've had to change my plans for my nephew's sweaters, which I'll show you in a second. But I am waiting on a sweater for one of my other nephews. And then I've also opened up orders on my site just locally. So if you're watching on here, I do not have an Etsy, and I am not doing these. I haven't opened this yet for like actually shipping out. It's just for people who are locally in my area. But here's the sweater that I made. Okay, so here's the sweater for my niece. It has just the cutest little detailing of flowers. I have daisies, roses, and then these little rosettes in there. And it is just so cute. And then, let's put that aside. These are the sweaters that I got for my nephews. So I got this like brown one. This brown one, and then I got this blue one. And the issue that I'm running into with these sweaters is they're supposed to be two different sizes, and they literally look exactly the same size. And my nephews are like gonna be tall boys, and so I want to be 100% certain that these sweaters are gonna fit them, and I'm okay with them being a little bit big. And so I am moving the brown one to be for my youngest nephew, and then I am waiting on the one in the mail for my older nephew. And then I've also been working on a project for myself. I don't know why, but I've been in like a huge like mushroom phase where I just love mushroom printed anything. And so I had to make myself a sweater. And so here is the sweater. I'm not done with it yet, but it's almost finished, and here it is. Look at those mushrooms. So that's the sweater that I'm working on for myself, and then you'll never believe what I found at Superstore today. I could not believe it. Just look at this. I got this tiny little mushroom that like lights up. It's a Christmas ornament, but I could not help myself. It was only $5, and so I bought it for myself. I don't think I'm actually gonna keep it out for Christmas. But I figured it would make a super cute fall decor piece. Here where I live, because it snows so early, it's like super awkward of knowing what you should like do to decorate. Some people have already started decorating for Christmas, and I'm already in the Christmas mindset, but I'm not ready to pull out my tree yet. But I'm still like holding on to those last little bits of fall. Like my fall wreath is still on the door, and I still have like little pumpkins everywhere, and I'm just not ready to put away the pumpkins. So it feels kind of weird to have pumpkins out when there's literally like a ton of snow on the ground right now. And I have my winter tires on and everything, and I'm preparing for Christmas, but I'm not ready to put it away. But those are all of my like little crafty updates, basically. Those are the things that are filling my time when I'm not working, when I'm not at appointments. I am either reading or embroidering. And so, yeah. I'm sorry that this vlog is kind of like all over the place, but this week just wasn't interesting. I do have an appointment with my dietitian tomorrow, and I'm a little bit nervous about it because things just haven't been going very well. I'll just put it like that. There is an update coming soon. I'm just not ready to talk about it, and I'll talk about it when I feel ready to discuss it. But I'm going to close out this video. Thanks for sticking around. I really appreciate it. And if you've been watching my videos and you haven't subscribed yet, I'd really love to have you a part of my journey. So hit that subscribe button and give this video a like, especially if you like mushrooms, like little like cutesy mushrooms, because that would make my heart happy. All right, see you next week. Bye.